What's going on, y'all? As always, man, back Saturday night for DHS. This movie definitely don't need no introduction, but tonight we'll be doing Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. And as always, hit that like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Kicking March Madness off with a banger. I think Robbie said it. No better way to start March Madness off than with Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. And I could not agree more. That's why I put it there. And as always, we got the awesome guests. We got the co-host, the homie Scarpad.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Light. Got my other co-host, Rockin' Damn Robbie.
Station.
Scarpad came out like a little peppy. It was his birthday this week, man. Happy belated birthday to the man. But Robbie, brother,
still kicking.
To have you. I feel like I ain't seen Robbie in like 2 months, but I think it's only been like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's only been like 3 weeks or something. I did 2 episodes in a row, man.
It always feels long. You love to stay away for a little bit, so then I just miss the hell out of you.
Yeah, that's the plan, bro. I want everybody to love me that much. I just stay away.
Love means never having to show up anywhere.
Well, there ain't no way I'm going to miss talking about The Shining on any show, anywhere, anytime. Let's fucking do it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm definitely glad to have you here because it's got some good shit, and I always love to hear what you think movies are trying to say, and this is a big one. But I know another man that definitely will have some good shit to say about this movie, and it's been a damn long time since he's been on Chamorro Cinema Nerdcastic News. Manny, brother, what's up, bro?
Station, bro. It's good, man. I'm excited to talk this film. This is a film I think I've taken maybe 8 different like film classes throughout high school and college, and this one always comes up. So if nothing, I will regurgitate a whole bunch of stuff I've heard other smarter people say tonight on this show.
Dude, damn, I always forget. So what was the last movie you joined us for?
Oh,
I know it's been a while, but
I think it was the Child's Play trilogy.
Bro, that's like 3 years ago or something, like 3 years ago. Yeah,
dude, it's been a minute.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, every time I took film class, Kubrick was always big.
Oh,
yeah,
it was either this one or Doctor. I was going to say Doctor Strange. the other one there, the strange. What was that movie you made with Peter
Doctor
Sellers?
Strange Love.
Doctor Strange Love. That's right.
Yeah, I've never been to a film class. So you've been to one, Scarpad, and obviously Chamorro has.
Hey, I'd be college educated. Yeah,
Hey,
I was in communication, so I did film classes because you got to sit there and watch movies.
right. Hey, I might go back to school now for real. That shit would be fucking awesome.
You don't
But
need to do that,
Become a
bro.
film-
You're the professor of your own film class
know
every
it's
week
true,
here
I
on
know it's true,
DHS.
Become a film critique.
But sometimes I like. I mean, Manny. When he first came on back in the day, I was like, damn, bro. I was like, because I know he's good as hell with the comics and shit, but then I didn't know he was like that with movies, and I was like, damn, bro. So it's always good to have him on, man, because he definitely knows his shit.
Yeah, Manny's pretty spot on with movies unless it's Page Master.
That is a damn fine film, Robbie. That is a damn fine film.
But yeah, Manny was supposed to be on it past Horror Fest, but things couldn't line up, but he's here now, man. So that's what counts, and it's for a damn good film. So definitely be having a good convo tonight. I figured, I mean, there's so many conversations and breakdowns on this. I was actually watching that. I didn't know there's that Room 237 documentary on it. I didn't get to finish it, but that's on Amazon Prime. So I was watching some of that, just trying to dig a little deeper on this, because my girl was actually asking. She's like, "What do you think the ending?"
The movies, that documentary is pretty cool and kind of creepy, actually.
Yeah, it seemed really good, honestly. I'm definitely gonna finish that up because it was longer than I expected. I put it on.
There's a YouTube channel called Collative Learning that does a lot of Kubrick films, and he's usually got some really good analysis on there.
Oh, nice. I'll have to look him up. Collative Learning. But
This was probably a little bit more straightforward than like the 2001, as these movies go.
Which
You
one?
know.
Oh,
This one was a little bit
2001.
more straightforward than straight 2001, right?
Yeah, well, like, in 2001, the question is, what's the narrative, right? To a lot of people, like, what's actually happening here at the end? And in The Shining, I think it's more like, what does this mean, right? And so everybody's got their like little theories, including, it's Kubrick's admission to helping fake the Apollo 11 moon landing and stuff like that, and some interesting stuff. That's some crazy stuff in that documentary, but it's also some really interesting stuff. If anything, that documentary helps you learn how to pull shit out of your ass for meaning of the movie, which is something we have to do every week on PCP Movie Night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do it
Especially
here
when we're talking about surf ninjas or some shit.
You really got to pull some shit out your ass for that one.
That is a very complex film about gentrification. We had this conversation. All right, it's a very good film.
I was just gonna probably start off saying maybe what kind of your first viewing of this movie, because I was in that documentary they had mentioned like somebody had said, or maybe it was a YouTube video, but he'd said like when I watched this as a kid, and I just kind of thought back to when I first watched this and how much that shit impacted me and how much it really freaked me out. Even after watching the movie, I went straight out and got the book, not really knowing that there are big differences, and I didn't even know about Stephen King, Kubrick's, drama that was going on, because I'd probably been maybe 8 to 10 years old. I'll say 10. So I was big into Stephen King, reading his books and stuff, and my uncle was like, "You've seen The Shining, right?" And I was like, "No, what's that?" And he was like, "Oh, dude." He's like, "You like Stephen King? You haven't seen The Shining?" And, that wasn't, but he was showing me Full Metal Jacket, 2001, with the Clockwork Orange, which is funny. The opening music in this is very, I think it almost hits that same note that a Clockwork Orange has. It's different, but it has that like similar note. But I remember him just putting this on, and we were sitting in the living room making popcorn and shit, and dude, when that scene with the room 237 came, that's when it just like, oh, I was like, this shit is wicked scary. He's like, don't look, man, don't look. And he like knows I'm looking because first she starts off gorgeous and then I'm still looking. And then I just see like obviously the change to some old nasty woman. He's like, I told you not to look. He's like, don't be coming to me tonight if you get scared. I was like, I won't get scared, dude. I fucking live for this shit. But deep down, this movie freaked the hell out of me, honestly. And just the shot designs, all that, man. The way this movie is filmed. I mean, it was one of the first movies to be filmed, you know, with the steady cam, where almost every scene it feels like they're being stalked by something. And
They had the inventor of the Steadicam there operating it, for instance.
oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, this
Yeah,
movie.
a lot of those trailing shots where he's riding his bike down the hall
Yeah.
and everything's kind of following all the action.
Yeah, I guess people have tried to like recreate the Overlook, like in video games, and like just to try to get the layout, and nobody has ever been able to really because
Layout makes no sense
yeah,
at
that's
all.
what-
No, yeah. It's the Overlook itself is a labyrinth, right? Because like that bit where you follow them into Ullman's office, and
Yeah,
he's got a window behind him.
yeah,
Like according to the geography that's explained in this thing, there's no exterior wall there, which is there's a lot of little things like that in the movie that make it feel, to me, I think it's a subtle subconscious hint that
Oh.
this place is alive, right? In a
It's-
way.
I Most
Yeah,
certainly
it's
do agree.
it's almost like a time vortex, and that's kind of like what you get at the end of the movie. But you
Yeah.
have the outside labyrinth with the bushes and the inside labyrinth with the walls changing all the time.
Yeah, and if you don't think the house is alive, then I really think that Doctor Sleep will basically confirm that for you. You know, because at the end,
Yeah, we have to no
in
Doctor
that
Sleep.
place, you've seen it, right?
I have not seen it yet. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow.
What? I thought you watched.
But you really have to. No, I haven't. I'm not watching
Oh,
it.
I'm
But
not
you
gonna-
really have to restrain.
Oh, I was just
Yeah,
gonna
when you're
talk
talking about this movie, you
that.
really can't even bring up that movie. But it's got to be just what happened in this
Well,
film.
nowadays, in a way, you can because it
Yeah,
is
but-
a direct sequel. But obviously,
Right.
we did review that. Pretty sure we reviewed that here at some point.
I know
Yeah,
we did it
no,
on,
I know. Well, I've definitely not
Yeah,
watched
we did
it.
it on
Cruise
PCP
Choice.
movie night for Manny's pick one year for Cruise Choice.
Right.
So good.
Yeah, and you know that opens up the whole question. If you're just looking at this movie and not that movie, you know, the
Yeah.
young kid with his ability of the shining ability,
Yeah,
but he also having this almost like a bipolar, you know, inhabited split personality. But does he? Is you know, it warns him about the house. Is it malevolent? Is it not malevolent? Does it exist at all? I mean, without looking at that movie at all, because I don't know what they tell you in that movie. But
yeah.
looking at this one, it opens that up to interpretation.
I didn't know you didn't see it because I was gonna say that I actually think that Jack has the sense, has the shining too. You just don't know it because he's been an alcoholic. I mean, he even hints, and that's what dulls it. And he even says, like in the hotel, like here's the 5. Like he says that he ripped his arm 3 years ago, and he's like, here's the 5 miserable months. But you did it 3 years ago. So he'd been drinking the
Right.
whole time. He only got sober once he came to the Overlook because there's no alcohol there. And then once that happened, he started seeing the ghost because the shining opened up. So
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard
Yeah,
that.
that's possible.
I mean, obviously it's not guaranteed, but that was just something I thought of. And that kind of opened it up because of something that Ewan says in Dr. Sleep. But there is a shot too where everything's kind of knocked out and it's been closed down for years and years, and then as soon as they like walk up, everything lights up, you know. So like that place is alive, you know. But Manny, what was your first experience, first viewing with the Shining?
my first time watching The Shining, I didn't know it was The Shining. There's a lot of pop culture touchstones. So when the film's on, you recognize things even if you haven't seen it, right? The River of Blood, the twins. So the first time I actually watched The Shining, I wasn't aware of the pedigree of it being a Stephen King story or anything like that. It was just, I was young enough that it was just a slow moving horror film, right? And then there's ghosts and everything, but they're so ambiguous. And towards the end, I honestly didn't like the film the first time I watched it. I felt that way about a lot of horror films. The Omen's another one that everyone's like, "Oh, I love that movie." I thought it was boring as shit.
Yeah.
So it took a little while to start to appreciate what The Shining is. And then in film class, the problem is, Scarpad said it earlier, they make you watch 2001 first, at least my teacher did, and then we would watch The Shining. And 2001, like Robbie said, is such a narrative mess. And The Shining is such a straightforward film. So, like, I think your appreciation grows. It's like I said on Thursday, reading ASM makes me appreciate Ultimate Spider-Man. I think watching 2001 made me appreciate The Shining more. Because it was a lot more straightforward. It was a lot easier to see. So those are my two first experiences. Would have been as a kid thinking it was kind of boring, and then as a film student, just knowing it's something I'm supposed to watch that's important. So
I do want to clarify. I had never said that the narrative was a mess in 2001. Just want to clarify.
You like that film? No.
I love that film. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. 100%.
Yeah,
Reading the book helps. 100%.
we did 2001. I don't know what, maybe me and Scarpad, and
Scarpad trying to talk while he's muted, or is he like ordering a
he
pizza?
might be.
I think most people's first opinion of all the Kubrick movies are they don't like them, they're too slow, and they hate them. But then you learn to appreciate them, and then you really learn to like them.
Yeah, I thought
least
that
that's
was
what's mine.
2001 back in the day, and Clockwork Orange though, and The Shining, I always did like though. But yeah, I had the same thing as Manny, where there was a lot of movies growing up. I was just like, these are not good movies, or you just don't get it. Like they're slow as hell, and that's your mind isn't slow. Your mind.
Well, it's also it's a '70s movie, so that's the era it comes from. But I think The Shining is more of it builds more of an atmosphere than it does a horror vibe. The whole thing reeks of atmosphere right from the beginning.
For sure. Robbie, what was your first experience with The Shining, brother?
My first experience was as a kid. I remember watching this one at some point. I remember my parents watching it. My mom, I think, was into it. But when I was a kid, I didn't get into this movie like at all. It wasn't because it was scary or anything, but kind of like what Manny said. Like when I was a kid, I thought this movie was kind of dull and boring. And when I'm a child, the Kubrick film that had more of an impact on me was actually Full Metal Jacket, because that was in constant rotation at my house, and that movie really messed me up, right? Mm-hmm. Like that scene when dude like kills his drill sergeant and himself or whatever, Vincent D'Onofrio, and I can't remember the other dude's name, something Earl, something, but like that really affected me as a child, like for real, where I didn't want to watch that movie. I like classified it with like Michael Jackson's Thriller and The Exorcist is one of the three scariest things I had ever seen outside of Gremlins and Jurassic Park. But I remember when I worked at the movie theater when Eyes Wide Shut came out. And when that was coming out, that got me kind of bit by the Kubrick bug. My late teens, I'm going to Blockbuster Video, I'm going to Movie Gallery, I'm going to Hollywood Video, I'm going to all these places and renting all these movies, that's where my initial real like study of film happened. All the stuff I loved when I was a kid and a preteen, that's fine. But all the stuff I started watching as a teenager, I was watching very intentionally. So I went through and I watched all the Kubrick stuff, 2001, Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, Lolita, like all that kind of stuff, right? And absolutely blown away watching The Shining as like an 18, 19-year-old, right? And the more I watch that film, the more I appreciate it, the more I get into it. And I know that all the time we love to say things like the 80s are the greatest horror decade and like out of there's a couple of like there's some really good decades for horror, but the 80s is like to me like it's like the 80s and the 30s, like 1930s, 1980s. It's hard to top that, right? And it's I don't always think it because like Scarpad said, this is a 70s movie, but it was released in 1980. And but it is one of, if not the best horror film of the 80s. And it's one of the best horror films of all time because of the care, because of the craft. I loved it because this was a time, and we're back in there a little bit, but this was a time when big name directors were putting a little bit of a shine on horror before it got goofy again, right? But I love The Shining. I think it's brilliant. I have never read the novel. I know all the contentions about the novel. I've had chats and conversations with people who have read the novel, and that's why I intentionally call this one Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
You're right.
But I absolutely love it. I love
Even
it.
now, the 4Ks and everything, they basically have taken his name off it.
Yeah.
I think even on the back, or no, it does say adaptation. Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of Stephen King's disturbing blockbuster horror novel. So,
well, we also got in the 70s. We also had a ton coming out of the 60s of ghost stories, and this is what this movie is. It's a ghost story, and it transitioned in the 80s over to slashers and other things. Ghost stories really started going away. There was one other movie called Ghost Story with Fred Astaire in it that was pretty big, and we had the Frighteners from Peter Jackson. But Ghost Story started like transitioning away. So this is one of the biggest, of that type of movie that went into the 80s. So it's a whole different vibe, really. And ghost stories are more methodical as they plot up. There's no big, there's a few shocks in this movie with the blood and the twins, but a lot of it's kind of low key for a horror movie. But it builds up a feeling of dread, and that's helped really a lot by Jack Nicholson's performance. I can't think of it. I don't know how much of that stuff was on the page and how much of it was just ad-libbed too by Jack Nicholson, but he brought that charisma to that character that I don't think anybody else could have. And I think if you had who was in that miniseries, Steven Weber, was that Steven Weber?
Yep.
If he was in the movie, would have been as dynamic as if it was Jack Nicholson. He brought a lot to that character. So at the end, when he goes from right in the beginning, this whole family screwed up. I mean, that whole ride in the car with it taken up, and you could tell he hates his kid, hates his wife. Even when he's talking to the kid, he's pretty menacing. So he starts off from being low-key menacing to full-out blown wacko menacing. And I don't think anybody could went up that timeline other than Jack Nicholson. But yeah, I saw this movie when I was about 12 or 13 years old. And once again, when I first saw it, like everybody else, I was kind of bored with it. I kind of liked it, but there was a lot. It's only later on when you look at the performances and the story and everything that you really appreciate it more. So I think everybody has that same thing with Kubrick. He's an evolved taste that as you get older you appreciate more.
Oh yeah. Shout out Perry though, man, gifted 5 Dylan's Horror memberships out, and actually I believe it's Perry's birthday as well, man. So make sure you guys give Perry a happy birthday in the chat out for y'all, man.
Happy birthday, bro.
He would have joined us tonight too, I know, but he had family over for his birthday. So yeah, make sure you guys wish.
He's probably at Taco Bell right now enjoying all of it. Getting one of those Taco Bell birthday parties.
Yeah, man. Rented out T-Bell.
He couldn't do so good.
Oh, man. And this was Gary was mentioning this last week. The shorter European cut of The Shining was Kubrick's preferred version, as the longer cut wasn't received well. I never heard about this, but obviously we're in the U.S.
Yeah, I've never seen a shorter cut.
I've never heard that either. Now I know that he cut a scene out of the ending after the theatrical cut, and actually ordered all of the prints back to take away the ending.
I saw something in that room 237 that said that Tom Cruise said or something when he was filming. Oh my God, you guys know what
Eyes
is
Wide Shut.
Yeah.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut, that he was cutting up the movie still at that point. So like they were saying it was something that he had like never fully finished, that he was still trying to cut it up throughout the years.
Another interesting thing is every deleted scene he ordered destroyed.
Really?
Kubrick was a nut. That's why people can that's why documentaries like Room 237 can exist.
Yeah.
Is because you know that like every single thing is intentional. So when you see Dopey from Snow White as a sticker on Danny's door in one shot and it disappears in the next shot, you're like,
He's not a nut. He's not a nut. He's an auteur.
But yeah, man. Yeah, I thought somebody mentioned though that there was an alternate ending. It's not on here though, but
well, he deleted. So there was a
deleted.
scene where after you see Jack frozen, it cuts to
the hospital or something.
To the hospital, yeah. It's Wendy and Danny's at the hospital, and
that,
Ullman shows up and says,
yeah.
"We can't find the body," and he gives the ball to Danny that the ghost.
Yeah, the only thing I remember in the vague twilight of my youth, and that's pretty vague now, is that when this movie, as a lot of movies did back in the late 80s, aired on television, it did air with some extra stuff added to it because to pad the runtime and to make up the stuff they cut out, like the old woman in the bathtub and so forth. So I think there was one or two scenes maybe added for TV, but that's all I remember ever seeing. And you'll never see him again because there's maybe after that TV airing, that's when he got rid of him. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the big scene when they go back to the mental asylum that Jack used to be at, and then like on the wall is written in blood "sister." That's no, never mind. That's a reference to the Halloween TV.
The interesting thing is if you look at the credits for this movie, there's a ton of people listed in acting positions. There wasn't a lot of acting in this movie, so did they get caught? I don't know. Maybe.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember catching this on TV back in the day.
This is the only.
He's saying that 25 minutes is cut out in the European cut. I've never heard of this either. That's interesting.
That's the only remaining image from the original ending of Aldman visiting Danny in the hospital.
I think there's one too of Wendy in the hospital,
Yeah,
but it could be just Shelley.
It
could just be Shelley Duvall in an actual hospital after filming this movie.
How did you get?
She wound up in quite a few of them lately. So.
Oh, hold on, somebody else is.
Was that an actual like picture that you had?
Yeah, it was a still image from Reddit.
From Reddit. Okay, it looked like you were holding it up for a second.
And I'm glad you cut that because I think the movie ends perfectly. It didn't need to go visit anybody in the hospital.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way it ends, and I know there's all that stuff where the way Jack Nicholson's hands are, like one's up and one's down, and that's how some
like
Baphomet devil is. If you look up a lot of satanic pictures and stuff,
it's the tarot card in particular. Is he's making the sign that the devil tarot card? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just looked at the European cut. Apparently,
that's what I was just gonna look up too.
Yeah, Kubrick said that he didn't think the European audiences needed as much exposition to get into the movie, so that's what's cut.
Oh,
that's hilarious.
Oh,
we got to spoon feed those Americans.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Because it's crazy. Because you think a lot of people talk about Stanley Kubrick being this long, bloated filmmaker, but then you go look at something like The Killing, and that's one of the most absolutely tightly paced movies I've ever seen. It's wild.
I look at it this way: the fact that there's 10 Fast and Furious movies proves Kubrick's point.
It's true, and they keep getting longer.
Right. Supposedly the next one is the last one, and then that's it. But we'll see.
Before the TV adaptation.
Yeah, right. Then the TV, and then Vin Diesel will be like, "One more. I promise, just one more. We're gonna bring.
Let's get the gang back together.
It's gonna be one last ride. That's gonna be the fucking. That'll be what they say for this last movie for sure.
And then they'll finally admit that Paul Walker died like 10 years ago.
Right.
Nah,
Just like,
no way. AI that motherfucker. Bring him
they
back.
keep just putting him in the movie, and there's just an empty fucking plate of ribs or something. Like, oh, he's in the
There'll just be a
bathroom.
chair. There'll be that chair in the back of his hatchback.
He's got to take the baby into hiding. He's going to send his wife out to fight the fucking evil drug lords from Brazil.
Yeah, I would too.
Shit. No way. But yeah, I guess we didn't. I thought for some reason I did Dr. Sleep, man. I wasn't even on that panel either for Dr. Sleep. That's how crazy that is. I really thought I did Dr. Sleep.
Dude, that's happened to me before too, man. One time I just told the story and Verno was like, "You weren't on that show, man." I was like, "What?"
I must have been just in the chat and just visualized myself.
Yeah, I'm definitely watching that tomorrow though, so maybe I can review that at some point.
Yeah, dude, that's what
It's good.
Two Gun said we'll have to do that. I'd be down to do a little review on that with you. That's a great movie.
It's weird. It's one of those few films where, like with The Shining, I prefer the book to the film. The Kubrick, I prefer Stephen King's book to the Kubrick film. But with Dr. Sleep, they're both so different in the third act, but yet you kind of need the book to get all the context of the film. It's this really weird relationship between those two. So it's crazy. If you read the book, the film will be better. But they're so different too. It's weird.
Yeah, they are.
Everybody says too that the extended version is better, but I'm going to stick with the theatrical for my first time watch, and maybe I'll watch the extended later on. At some point.
What's crazy is that Mike Flanagan had to make an adaptation of Stephen King's sequel to his novel The Shining.
Right.
But you can't make a movie of that without obviously having to be a sequel to Stanley Kubrick's Shining. So it's trying to tread both grounds, and I actually think it does it pretty well.
It really does, because obviously we know fucking King hates Kubrick's version. And I think
his version wasn't that good, bro. I'm just gonna say that 1997 one or whatever. Man.
I do have some love for it, but I know that this is better.
The miniseries could have been so good if it didn't need to be a miniseries. It's so much fucking just slow, nothing happening for multiple episodes.
I mean, kind of like Storm of the Century.
Like most of them, Stephen King
love Storm of the Century.
I know, I do too. I love it. I like it, but Dylan and you love it. I like it.
I don't like it.
That was a low blow right there.
Robbie doesn't like it. I at least like it. I like it.
I love.
Robbie doesn't like it at all.
The longest fucking week of my life watching that shit, man.
But it was long. Let me tell you, Dylan, it wasn't long.
See, Storm of the Century came out at the perfect time because I had just started reading Stephen King. I was in my church youth group, so when they tell you who the demon is, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I remember that from youth group. Then all of a sudden I'm like, this is deep. This is a deep fucking movie. And then it was better. I
should have had you come on. What was I thinking? I
think I was scheduled.
I knew I was missing somebody.
I liked it. I just thought it was a little bit long. That's all.
How did fucking The Shining, the TV movie, that's getting a Scream Factory Blu-ray, but the Storm of the Century still stuck in?
Are they really putting The Shining out on Scream Factory?
They're putting a Scream Factory Blu-ray out for it.
Are they gonna fucking George Lucas the fuck out of them hedge monsters? Because I hope so.
Supposedly
there's hedge monsters.
Full frame or something. I don't know.
Yeah, in the novel, there's not a labyrinth out there. It's like a bunch of hedge animals that come to life and attack Danny, and they do that in the book. I mean, in the miniseries, and it looks like 1997 television tried to do that.
I think if all that King stuff was so like, I don't know if nobody like big movie productions weren't willing to get fund him, so all he could do were TV movies, because that period of time he was putting out so many TV movies. And
wasn't that his cocaine years when he was high on coke all the time?
I don't know exactly, to be honest.
They were making a lot of his dramatic stuff though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was a lot more of Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile type stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
Right.
You know, the other thing too is like, okay, convince any studio in 1997 to do The Shining.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? With the weight that movie has on it. You know, that's why even
and Kubrick still
They
being
also had
alive.
Mick Garris do it
Yeah.
too. So I mean,
like Kubrick's gonna like that. I tell you what, if they would have put that movie out, they would have been like, that movie was so bad when it came out that Kubrick died 2 years later.
Right. So
well, I think
no one didn't want to touch any of that
I
stuff till he
love
passed
Mick
away.
Garris's work, but you cannot put Mick Garris on for The Shining. I mean, to go against Stanley Kubrick. As much as I respect Mick Garris for like Critters 2 and Riding the Bullet and some of the things he's done, he has nothing nothing on Stanley Kubrick. I mean, but he's probably the only one that was willing to do it because he's like, shit, I'll take if you're willing to give it to me, I'll do it.
Well, you're not gonna get close to Kubrick on a TV budget anyway. So
exactly. Well, that too. But the thing is, this was, like Storm of the Century was a straight up screenplay that King wrote that wasn't based on. So
yeah,
I think King adapted his novel to a screenplay for Mick Garris of The Shining. So
yeah, he did that for Stanley too, and Stanley just threw it away. Didn't even read it. Even read it.
He probably was like, he probably brushed that fucker off, and he was like, this is the one that Stanley threw away.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wrote it with. Who did he write it with? It was a woman credited.
Diane somebody. She was an author. I can't remember her last name right now.
Okay.
But someone's going to Google that. Diane Johnson?
Yep.
Who I think he said was more literary than Stephen King, which is true. I mean, I love Stephen King novels, but I like Michael Crichton as well. You get what I'm saying? But I wouldn't put Michael Crichton or Stephen King up against, some of the more literary writers, like people that write very. I don't even know because I don't read them. You know what I'm saying? But
right, yeah, it's been a while, but I do have my actual Shining novel that I had as a kid that I read. It's So I had a few handfuls of his books, and that was one of them.
I have a copy of it now. I just haven't gotten to it. And the other thing is that
really good.
Stanley Kubrick was such a nutty auteur. This dude shot the movie. The shoot order of this movie is chronological. It's scene 1 is the first scene they shot, and he goes all the way through, which meant, and I think he's at Pinewood Studios, right? He has the majority of Pinewood Studios set up because all that stuff is done in studio. Yeah. Only exteriors are shot at the Timber Brook, I think is where they shot it at. And then at one point they even built a facsimile of the front or whatever, right? So a lot of it's on set so he could control it. But because of the way he was shooting it, he wanted and demanded, and Kubrick had this kind of a deal with Warner Brothers. In fact, he had Final Cut in all of his movies, right? Every set was dressed and lit at all times. Manny knows how expensive that shit is, right? Yeah. And then one of them, the lights got so hot it burned down the Colorado room set, but it burned down luckily after they had finished filming what they needed to do. And there's a famous picture of Kubrick in front of the wreckage of the burned down set, laughing basically at the irony that the Overlook burns down at the end of the movie, and then at the end of production, part of the set burned down. So then they rebuilt it for Raiders.
Halogen stage lighting, not just as a guy who does photography fucking for a living, but as an electrician, the halogen stage lights melt your UV gloves, dude. That's how fucking hot those things get. So imagine how much.
Very hot.
There's hundreds of watts in one bulb, 500 watts probably in one bulb.
Jesus.
Right? So times that by 208. You know what I mean? How many amps of power they're running?
Dude, he was running so much,
13 cents an hour.
There's a documentary on the Blu-ray that I got. I think this is the first Blu-ray release that they did. Right there, I still got that one. Still serves me well. Yeah, there you go.
Scarpad. This thing's 20 years old.
And in there, they're talking about that light, that they're putting on the outside of the set to shine through the windows to make it look like that overblown, overexposed super white light you get at like high altitudes on super snowy days and stuff. They were like, those lights were so hot. I think that's the set that burned down, actually, the Colorado room, because that's where he was writing, right?
Yep.
And throwing the tennis ball. And he was also just notorious for doing many, many takes. He treated Shelley Duvall and Scatman like crap throughout this movie. At one point, Scatman just breaks down. He's like, what the fuck do you want, Mr. Kubrick? Just tell me, God damn it. I'm tired of falling my ass down. Like the scene where he got killed, he had to shoot it. Apparently, he planned to shoot it like 70 or 80 times, but Jack Nicholson convinced him to trim that down to 40 because Scatman was like 69, I think, at the time, and just kept having to like fall to the floor. And then he tormented poor Shelley Duvall. But I think he did that because that performance, though, he did that to get that performance out of her, man. He didn't give a fuck. He would do whatever he thought it took to get the exact performance that he wanted.
Yeah, and she was very convincing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's that John Alcott, the cinematographer for Kubrick on this film. I was told by one of my instructors, whether this is accurate or not, that he has claimed to have hundreds and hundreds of photo albums. The guy is just constantly taking photos of light and how light hits. So he doesn't set up a scene unless he can use naturalistic lighting that falls exactly how it's supposed to. So he doesn't, there is no overexposure that wouldn't be normal overexposure. There's no stylistic flair other than this is as natural as light could get in a set. That's insane. It's awesome.
That's why it looks so realistic too, man.
Yeah.
Like the lighting in the movie is absolutely brilliant. The sets are brilliant. The performances, even though it was excruciating for most. I mean, think about this. Everybody like Scorsese had De Niro. Now he's got DiCaprio, right? And then you got like Ridley Scott likes to work with Russell Crowe, right? And you have these, like Tim Burton likes to work with Johnny Depp. You have these kind of things happen, right? Who worked with Stanley Kubrick more than once?
Yeah.
Well, the movie you guys want to watch, if you want to go back and see like Kubrick meets spectacle, is 1960s Spartacus with Kirk Douglas.
It's a great movie, yeah.
That's like Kubrick. That's like Kubrick meets Cecil B. DeMille, and just the amount of extras that he had and all the huge sets because of the whole Roman stuff. Especially if you watch that with something like Gladiator as a double feature. But go back and watch Spartacus. That movie is unbelievable. That's probably his best film as an overall Hollywood epic type thing. And then you got the big stars. You got Tony Curtis. You got Kirk Douglas. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, it won like 4 Academy Awards, didn't it?
I think Spartacus might be the reason why he got that sweet deal with Warner Brothers pretty much for life. It might be.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think Spartacus is the reason why. And then right after that,
they gave him a lot of rope. Yeah, they gave him a lot of rope because none of his movies, 2001, none of his movies were really commercial blockbusters. They were over time. But anybody else probably putting out some of these movies wouldn't have been given the what he was given to do. So, yeah, definitely. But then you got Paths of Glory, you got Dr. Strangelove, which I love. That's a great movie too.
I've never seen
there's so many good movies,
one, man.
I'll have to watch
so many great movies that Kubrick did.
I even like Barry Lyndon, man. I know a lot of people don't, but I like that one.
I love the lighting in that one. The fucking candle.
Yeah, Barry Lyndon's tough to get through.
Oh my gosh.
You got special lenses from NASA to film some of that stuff.
Yeah, they're
probably because he's in cahoots with them since he faked the moon landing.
Yeah, that's why Danny was wearing that Apollo 11 sweater.
Well, and one of the things they point out in that one of those things they point out in that documentary is that's the scene when he's in that like pattern on the carpet and it's open, and then the ball comes to him and it turns the camera around and it's closed now. Like the carpet changes. And then people talk about how that pattern looks like the Cape Canaveral launch pad, and Danny's crouching, and then he stands up, and that's the rocket launching, and then he goes into room 237. And the moon at the time was believed to be 237,000 miles away from the Earth.
So what was the importance of room 237 where the guy killed his family, or was it just that's the epicenter of ghostly activity? What was
one of the most evil and gnarly Ghosts is what I think, because
that's
there
what I
goes
hope.
all up in that thing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
they're
that
all over the
ghost in
place.
particular, yeah.
Yeah. They said something too. Oh shit, I forget. There was something about numbers too. That
42.
yeah,
Talking about
42 times something equals
There's a
2.
lot of 42s in it. Danny's wearing a
Yeah.
shirt that says 42, 237 if you add them up together, like 2
Yeah.
plus, what is it? 2, it's 2 times 3 times 7 or something like that is 42.
Yeah.
It's weird stretching stuff, and that's like tying it to the Holocaust.
That's how people go deep though with this movie, man. They go.
I mean,
They
there's like MK Ultra
yeah.
shit that's supposed to be in there too, and you're just like, what? Maybe that's just a snowboarding.
Right.
Fucking not a snowboarding, I guess. I don't know if people snowboarded in 1979, but
So if Kubrick put in all the moon landing things and all of the Native American slaughter things and all of the MK Ultra thing, if everything in this is not serendipity, does that impact your thoughts on Kubrick? Because this has to be, if he did that intentionally, that was to keep you discussing this film. So it's almost a self-serving thing to do that, unless he really does have something to say about all those things, in which case, is he saying that he faked the moon landing?
Here's
or
the thing.
Is he using that? It's so weird.
I love that there are layers to this movie to unpack, and interpretations and layers of interpretations about this movie, whether it's intentional or not. When someone makes a piece of art, I believe that they are truly connected to like a collective unconscious, right? And I believe that ideas will come through, and the people that make the great works of art and I've written, for instance, I'm not saying I'm Stanley Kubrick because I'm fucking not, but I've written songs that to me were about one thing. But then I had somebody who was a fan of that song tell me that this means so much because I relate to it because of this. And I'm like, that's not my intention. But the beautiful thing about real art is that it's open to the interpretation of the person experiencing that art. So whether it's intentional or not, the fact that this movie's got so many of those layers that just happened, that's like a feat in and of itself to me right there.
Yeah. That's
I
the
tell
beautiful
Tiff-
thing about stuff like that.
I tell Tiff that all the time with comic books. She's like, "There's no fucking way they were thinking what you were saying on that show." And I say, the author doesn't have jurisdiction over themes. The author has jurisdiction over plot and characters. Themes are personal. Like they might have had a theme they were thinking of.
Yeah.
But the way I see it and internalize it is totally up to me, and totally up to whatever the fuck came out of my head while I wasn't thinking on a stream. That's usually how that works.
And what your state of mind is while you're partaking of that piece of art. That's why like every piece of cinema we watch, every comic book we read, every novel, every painting we see, it's that specific point in our life. We're a different person. Like right now, I'm not the same Robbie that reviewed Dr. Sleep with you. So next time we talk about Dr. Sleep, I'll be a different Robbie, and I may have a different opinion on it. And that's why I like revisiting films.
So much. You evolved so much since I first met you. You're not snotty Robbie anymore.
Well, sometimes I de-evolve because we're all about that Devo life around here too. We dare to be stupid.
Right. But yeah, that's why I always love movies too that kind of like don't spell everything out, because it leaves it up to so much conversation and what this person thinks that means or what that person thinks it means. And that's how you come out with The Shining, and you come out with YouTube having a million different movies or videos about this movie being explained, and you click on 10 different guys and 10 different meanings on what they think it means, or it's crazy though. It's awesome though.
That's the beautiful thing about film. It's one of the reasons why we love doing these kind of shows. PCP Movie Night, Dylan's Horror Show. Like we love this because we get to all have different experiences on movies. And sometimes that experience isn't good. And sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's more profound than it probably should be. But it's just the way it works, man.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai to me is like one of the most life-impacting fucking personal things I've ever seen. What? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I believe it. For me too.
Everybody has their page master. Robbie.
Yeah, bro. There was a time in my life where Limp Bizkit spoke to me so much.
Song of the century.
Limp Bizkit. Okay, Storm of the Century is the Limp Bizkit of Stephen King adaptations.
Hey, Limp Bizkit was a great part of his time, man.
A $3 bill, y'all. That's still a great album. I don't care what nobody says.
Hot dog flavored what? Hot dog chocolate flavored
Chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored
yeah,
water.
thank you. Yeah.
That's where it started falling apart, Dylan.
That's where that motherfucker was at his peak, man.
That's when he was banging Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera.
I love that album. I love
Did
that.
it all for the Nookie. The Nookie.
Yeah, that album, the album that has Nookie on it is great. Those are my two favorite Limp Bizkit albums.
I watched this YouTube video once about how Nookie was actually a confession of Fred Durst's involvement in the faking of the moon landing. It was interesting.
Have any of you guys seen the movie that he directed? Junior, come on.
No.
The Fanatic.
Oh no, I haven't seen that. Is that the one with
It's
John Travolta's in that one, right? Okay.
Yeah,
No, I haven't seen that. Is it good?
I wouldn't say it's good, but it's fucking like hilariously dumb. Like you just got to see it. I can't even like describe it. Like Travolta's trying to like pull off his sling blade or something. I don't know. But being like a fanatic that has like, that's a little off, just like weird. But it's fucking hilarious, man. And it's definitely worth a watch. It got so much, like people were talking about it. They were like, this is the greatest, worst movie in years, so it's definitely worth a watch. I think you can literally get it on Amazon too for like $5 right now. So
I don't know if you just
fucking stoned and watch.
I don't know if you just sold me on buying it for even $5, man. But
hey, well, like I said, get stoned and watch it. Some people get into that shit. Some people, what was it, The Room? Like I knew people that like would just sit there and watch The Room over and over again. And they're like, this is so fucking funny. And I'm like, this is so stupid,
Yeah.
Some people get in this like stupid shit that.
No, I do too, bro. I do too, man. We just watched last week. We watched a movie called Orgy of the Living Dead that I got because Hamilton had it for like $5, and just the
I
title
got that
alone.
one. I got that one. It's a good one.
Is it? Because I wouldn't say it's good, but
No, it's not good. It's no burial ground, but it's still pretty
It
good.
definitely ain't no Burial Ground. I'll tell you that. Burial Ground was way more interesting, but
Oh man.
Orgy of the Living Dead, not as much orgies as I thought. A lot of nude corpses though. That kind of was disturbing.
So before we completely end, on The Shining, I think Shelley, since obviously we always will talk about, great characters in this movie, like Jack Nicholson, obviously iconic, and he is always talked about. But I definitely think Shelley Duvall doesn't get as much credit as she deserves. And man, me and Scarpad were looking at how she looks today. Whew, man, she sad to
She
say.
does kind of look like the woman that was in the tub, but
she must have went through some tough.
she had mental problems. She lived on the street for a while.
Yeah.
And,
I think I did hear
it's
that.
too bad.
It's definitely too bad what she's gone through. But I think this, without her and what Nicholson brought to this movie, which is absolutely iconic and incredible, she's absolutely.
Well, if you guys forget too, Shelley Duvall also did that Showtime series where she did all those like adult fairy tales. Remember those? Back in the late 80s and 70s.
Yes.
And
what was that called? I don't remember.
Shelley Duvall's something fairy tale theater, something like that. And some of those are pretty cool. So she was a good actress, and she was, of course, in Popeye. I remember that.
Yeah, I
like
remember
olive oil and Popeye. And another thing too is Scatman Crothers in this movie is amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I tell you what, I love this movie for so many reasons. But why is my favorite scene in this fucking movie when this dude's just describing everything that's in the pantry and the freezer?
Yeah.
We got canned peaches, canned pears. I don't know why that's my favorite fucking scene in the movie.
You gotta have prunes to keep you regular.
I fucking love it,
Or
man.
dried figs.
It's so great. And his fucking Miami pad, that's the coolest fucking
Oh,
thing.
did you see when he's under that painting?
Yeah,
He's sitting there under that painting.
Oh, dude. That dude's
That was
living
love
the life
70s, man.
right there, man. I'm living that
You
dude's
could
living the life.
tell he was a definite player.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's one of the reasons why I was
Miami, baby.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I was inspired to get my Linnea Quigley bare ass naked photo for my bedroom. The bourgeois.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah, I don't blame you, brother. But yeah, Adventures of Shirley Holmes, that show was called, I think. But yeah, I do, because I know people used to say she was annoying. When I watched this last viewing, I was just like, she is giving it her all, man. She's incredible. Bud, come on.
And I buy her terror in the bathroom too.
That's what I like. She is. I mean, like, may like depending on your mood, you might be like, this is just like the kind. But it's like for her to be able to like cry like that and just really give it everything, and you're just like, damn, man. Like she's giving it something totally different than what Nicholson is doing. You know, like where he's just pulling the crazy, batshit crazy out. Where she's really got to put the fear, like you see the fear in her eyes and the terror.
Yeah,
And
his Nicholson's dialogue with that bartender is just he's talking to her like this
yeah.
the sperm bank upstairs and women you can't live with them, you can't live
You
without
can't
them.
live without them.
All that stuff is classic, man. I don't know whether that was scripted or some of that he pulled out of his ass, but he just delivered it so well.
The best damn bartender from Portland to Timbuktu. I'm curious. Does anybody have like because I've seen that people were talking about reincarnation with the hotel and all that because they make that line. The Delbert guy makes that line that you've always been here, you know, and I would know that because I've always been here.
It's possible.
I was just curious if maybe what you guys pull out of that. Is there any like what do you think he means by that? Because obviously he's in that picture, but I think that picture is like you ever see those like those ghost story movies, and then like there's the picture, and then he's like pushed into it. Where that's
basically the house has him at this point.
That's exactly
everybody that comes in there gets added to that picture.
Exactly. But I don't. Some people seem to think that he's always been in that picture and this is like a reincarnated version, and that's why like the twins, I guess in the book they say that, or no, in the story that what is it, Lowell, the fucking guy in the beginning that interviews Jack, Ullman. Yeah, he says that Delbert or whatever had a daughter at 8 and 10, not two twins. So because a lot of people seem to think that the twins are those two girls, but they're twin. You know what I mean? But some people.
The other thing is they're not necessarily if they're twins, they're not identical twins,
right?
Certain. And there's an interesting little, it's easy to be like Stanley Kubrick is so like nitpicky, like everything means something, but like sometimes the left twin versus the right twin, like one will look like docile and one will look sinister, and then it's flipped the next time you see them. And a lot of people are talking about how it represents Gemini or represents the polar opposites, like the yin and the yang, represents good and evil, as above, so below. This is why the opening shot, right, is when you come through and you're seeing the lake with the reflection of everything as above, so below. One of my favorite things about that documentary, Room 237, is they're talking about if you play the movie in reverse and overlap it with the movie forward, it gives you a whole new meaning of the movie and certain scenes that overlap with scenes, right? Yeah. And like, it's just interesting. Yeah. Like, it's really interesting. It's like, was Kubrick that? Like probably not obviously if he likes the European cut better, right? But the fact that we can even do something like that, it's the equivalent of playing a Chicago record backwards and Little Nicky being like, hell yeah, Chicago kicks ass, bro.
I wish that I would have wrote the script for my video this week after having rewatched The Shining, because I feel like this one works a little bit better. My initial slant was all about demon possession, and then that all changed to duality. But one of the things I think in terms of Grady, in terms of the cyclical nature of what happens at this hotel, I think that just, again, it's speaking to like the idea that there's two sides of everything. There's this opulent, beautiful hotel, but then there's also these really dark and twisted things that happen in that hotel. Jack is open to interpretation, obviously. I think Jack's a closeted gay man, and I think that there's a lot of that in this. That's why he talks to Grady the way he does about his wife, that she's just a sperm dumpster, a child factory. The reason why I think he's a closeted gay man is because he's reading Playgirl at the very beginning of this
And
He's
one
reading
of those, if you look up that issue of Playgirl, one of the fucking headlines is incest. Why do parents abuse their children or something like that?
Yep. And so there's a lot of there's those instances. There's also a lot. For some reason, Kubrick cuts out a shit ton of the Overlook's history, but he maintains the guy in the dog costume. Like that is intentional. There, his wife acts as though she's a wife who is always just I don't like to use the word, but she seems like a beard. You know what I mean? She seems like that's why Jack flips out on her so easily. That's why Jack says, "You've ruined my life for this many years." Like Jack, I think, is really struggling with his own sexual impulses. I think that's seen throughout the entire film, and I think that when you look at what happened with him being in the photo and things like that, I think it's just speaking to the fact that there has been a feeling that people had to be closeted for so long, and it becomes this huge stressor on them, and I think that's part of what it's doing. It's just speaking back to this throughout history of people not being able to be themselves, feeling claustrophobic, feeling trapped, and then these things happening, this stressor. So I don't know. I think that's part of it anyway. I think that's part of the conversation.
There's also
I've never thought of it like that.
There's also an interpretation where you could read that Jack Torrance was abused himself, maybe by his own father, and it's a generational thing too, right?
With the drinking too, obviously.
I think that's what the whole thing about the ending is, and what's interesting is you see that picture. That 4th of July ball picture is in the film at the very beginning. Like they walk by it, right? And it's there. It's there on that wall, and they walk by it, but you'll never notice it unless you're paying attention for it, right? And so every time I'm watching this movie again, I'm like, where is it again? Where is it? And it's like early on. I think it's when they first get there or something, like when the family first gets there, not just him, because that's a separate thing when they come back up, right? But so to me, what I think it ties into the theme of the movie, at least the way that I kind of interpret it and the way that I view the movie, which it may not be intentional, but like, for instance, I give a lot of credence to the Native American stuff in the movie. There's a reason why this hotel has this Native American motif throughout. There's a reason why Ullman keeps, like, one of the things that they keep from that novel, right, Dylan, is that it's built on an Indian burial ground.
Yeah.
There's a reason to me why Ullman looks like a Kennedy, right? There's a reason why he's got the American flag at his office. There's a reason why he's got a copy of Carl Jung's Red Book right there next to him. Where I think that's an invitation to dive deeper into this, into the imagery, into the symbolism, right? So what I think this movie is speaking is about the haunted history of mankind, right? Now you can look at it simply as just like America. Okay, let's look at that. The Overlook is America, built on an Indian burial ground. Yep. And we use the Native American history of our country as set dressing around Thanksgiving time or certain things like that, right? And so there's that idea. But how does that relate to what's going on? I also lead a little bit of credence to some of the Holocaust theories, because Stanley Kubrick was very much interested and invested in the Holocaust. He was going to make a Holocaust movie. That was going to be one of his movies, his movie in the 90s. And then Schindler's List came out, and he was good friends with Steven Spielberg, and he liked that film. So he actually changed it to Eyes Wide Shut. And then after that was supposed to be a collaboration with Steven Spielberg, which was AI, right? So what I think the movie is it is as above, so below. But as America, the nation, has built itself on the haunted history of how we got to be where we are, all the death, all the struggle that had to happen for us to be where we are, that is the below. As the above is the entire history of mankind. Progress, evolution, society, all this progresses when we step over tradition, when we step over other cultures, when we do this kind of stuff, these heinous things, whether it's the Holocaust, whether it's the the genocide of the Native Americans, but go beyond just America, go beyond just Europe. This is something that happens. Let's bring it smaller again. Let's bring it even more below to the individual. The generational abuse that Jack experienced, that he is now putting on Danny, the problems that Danny will face, the alcoholism, that's something that's talked about in Dr. Sleep, that alcoholism kind of comes about. I don't have the healthiest relationship with alcohol. My mom didn't, my uncle didn't, my grandfather didn't. Like it's a generational thing, and these are things we got to watch out for. We can't forget about it. We're surrounded, and the other thing too is the isolation of the movie, right? And the isolationist theory sometimes is what produces these things. So when a nation is isolationist, for instance, they don't want to help other countries out. They just want to look out for themselves. And it's this kind of like, and I just watched for the first time a movie last night that we're going to be covering next week here on this channel. And that movie has that same theme about like, when you live with your blinders on and you're isolated, all you're doing is helping perpetuate this idea of stepping over someone else to get to where you are. So to me, this hotel, Danny and Jack's personal lives, the entire nation of America, the entire history of humanity as we currently recognize and understand it, it's about we as a society, as individuals, we are still dealing, most of our problems still come from all the bullshit that came before. And we still haven't been able to exercise that. So we're just like the Overlook Hotel. We're just like Jack and eventually Danny until we finally figure out a way to kind of break that cycle, right? So to me, that's what it is. And I like to just put it as the haunted history of mankind. If I ever wrote a book about The Shining, that's what I would call it. The haunted history of mankind, or humankind, I guess, would how you'd have to put it today. But y'all get what I'm saying. Yeah. I do think the moon landing's real, by the way. So
haunted history of mankind.
The
humankind.
Yeah, when you talk about the generational issues and that Jack having been abused, one of the things that channel I mentioned earlier, one of the things he talks about is the bear suit and the idea that Jack had been abused as a child and then he is sexually abusing Danny, because if you look at Danny's bedroom in the film, there's a bear kneeling down in front of another bear right above his bed. And that then when you see the bear, he's on his knees and, doing his thing. And then Grady kind of sits up and it mirrors that image. And then in their room, there's also two naked kids on a photo above Jack's bed where they're in the same pose. And then when Jack goes into room 237, everything that the woman in the tub does, every motion she makes is the exact same motion that Jack is making to Danny when he walks into that room. So he's seeing it. He's seeing the abuse he put on his son through, he's experiencing it as Danny. So you notice the camera lingers on the bed. And then the lady motions from the tub with her arm out like that, the exact same way Jack does to Danny. So the reason Jack's so dismissive of there might be someone else in the hotel is because he is the one that choked him. He is the one that did that. And that's why the sweater change from the Mickey Mouse sweater, a symbol of innocence, to the Apollo 11 sweater, which is a phallic symbol aiming right back at Danny, is another important little tidbit that guy pointed out. So, but again, just he was bringing up the same thing, Robbie, I guess is my long-winded way of saying that Jack had possibly been abused by his father. Yeah. And
it's generational, right? And so is the history of mankind. And we're still paying the sins of the fathers, right? Yep. But like for instance, like the more I think about okay, so let's give a lot of like, let's say Stanley Kubrick, like every single fucking little thing and even every little mistake is purposeful in this movie, right? And it's hard to believe that somebody will do like 80 takes of something and get the one where there's a slight mistake, where the carpet's different, or the sticker on the wall is different, or the shirt is not intentional. The Apollo 11, let's think about this. Science exploration. I'm a huge fan of it. Stanley is too. He wants to see the progression of mankind. At least he did 11 years before the release of this film when he did 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, he did warn us about certain things, like he was one of the first people in cinema to really warn us in a very real and scary way about the dangers of AI, right? And so, like, this is a dude who's ahead of his time. What does the Apollo 11 represent then? To me, think about this. All that beautiful progression of science was never to lead us to a higher state of being. It was only to perpetuate war and more genocide and more death and the more tragedy, more trauma upon this planet, which Dan Waters said this when he was on my show, and I hold on to it because it's one of the most profound things somebody ever said to me as a creator that really made sense. Every ghost story is about trauma. And I think that this is about the trauma individually and on the large scale. Microcosm, macrocosm, as above, so below.
As Two Guns said it, well said, brother.
Thank you.
But
That's just what I get. But I get really high when I watch these movies. So,
Dude, that's all good shit.
Well, it's clear there's some sort of whether it's just mental, physical, or sexual abuse going on. It's clear that something's going on that spurs the development. I think of The Shining spurs the development of his child's split personality friend character, and he's dealing with that while Torrance is dealing with that and alcoholism. That's why you see that whole, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy over and over and over and over again as he's trying to fight, his impulse to play, whatever that play means to him. So there's a lot of that in the film. And
there's that thing where he's waiting to be interviewed, and he's reading a magazine, which it's a Playgirl magazine, and some people have like found that real Playgirl magazine, and it said like on the front there's like an actual thing that says there's an art or interview in it about why do parents do like weird shit with their children. I don't even know, it's like weird.
Yeah, Robbie,
say it out
Robbie
loud.
mentioned that earlier.
I thought he did. I had to walk away because the dogs were going nuts in here.
Yeah. No, well, and what's interesting about the generational thing again is I could be wrong, but I'm fairly positive that's Grady that's in the bed with the bear, right? Grady is also the bartender, and in another film, Jack is the bartender. You get what I'm saying? So and he takes Grady's job. So is Grady, the Delbert Grady we see in the film, is that Jack's father, and he's interpreting him as Grady, just how Grady doesn't interpret Jack as Jack. And so you're legitimately seeing that family dynamic in those generations again.
Or he's representative of his father, and even like what Jack is doing is representative of what was done to him, and like what he's doing to Danny. And it goes before that even, right? It just keeps going back. And I think that's why he's in the picture at the end, because really, for the longest time, I didn't think that it made any sense. And, maybe I thought it does the house have him now? He's one of the ghosts of the house. And so now I could go on for another hour about time and space, how it's all here and there, and the past, present, and future are all happening now. And just watch a Teen Dog Shay's night of Rock and Robbie live. And I'm sure I've just fucking spilled that shit out before. But like the idea that like he has always been there. We're doing the same fucking pattern. We're doing the same cycle. We're not breaking it. As a human species, we are not breaking our fucking pattern. And that's why everything keeps getting fucking worse, is because all those sins of the fathers, well, they pile on, bruh. And, I see a lot of wisdom in a lot of different art forms, including ancient scriptures. And that's something that like the Bible and the Indian scriptures and the Quran and so many other religious texts all throughout mythology, they just teach us this idea of the sins of the fathers being impressed upon the next generation. And that's what's happening, man. Like we're right now, for instance, like not to get too political, we're as a nation dealing with a lot of the bullshit decisions the boomers made in the 80s for us. Right. And now we're dealing with that. And the bad decisions that our politicians are making today are fucking, 20, 30 years from now, it's going to be even worse. Like, it's just the way it is, man. If we don't change our ways, we got to wake up, man. Do we want a beautiful future like 2001 A Space Odyssey, where we evolve and literally like ascend to a higher plane of consciousness and existence? Or do we want to be frozen to death in the maze, the labyrinth that we've made of our own design for ages and ages?
Yeah, I'd go with the beautiful Space Odyssey.
Yeah, me too.
I just want Captain Kirk to fight the Gorn, man.
Oh, that was a great episode, man. Arena, right? Isn't that Arena?
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, yeah, as always, I mean, that's definitely pretty fucking deep, which I figured. That's why I get Robbie and Chamorro on this one, because they go deep on this one. I know. Yeah, 'cause I know Robbie has to be done soon, and we got a couple things to show. So, trying to think, we probably just rate it, and if you can give your final thoughts on the movie, obviously, as always. So obviously, I know we all love this movie, and this is one, like, as somebody said in the chat, like, we could go another 4 hours on this. I mean, this is one that just can be talked about all night long. That's why when he said he had to be done at 9, I was like, oh man, I was like, we got to give it at least an hour and a half on this one, you know, because this one just it's too good, man. And once you start diving into some things, you just keep going further and further down the rabbit hole. Everything is planned even now. Albert Pike 3, Horror Wars. Dude, every time these dogs are perfect while I'm just sitting around, but every time I stream, they want to act like madmen.
Mhm.
I'm such a good father. I have my headphones on. I left my son upstairs watching clips from old Godzilla movies, just the fights, right? It's like a 2-hour playlist on YouTube. And then my wife and daughter came home, and he goes, "Mommy," and he comes up. So he's been down here for God knows how long. I haven't even noticed. So should the house have burned down or something, I would have had no fucking clue.
You've always been here, Manny.
Yeah.
Just like I've always been here.
Oh,
I think you must teach them a lesson.
oh.
And maybe we should skip rating this one because really it's unrateable, kind of.
It really is, but I'm figure we all are probably at. I mean, it's a 5 all day for me. It's a 5 all day. So I'm guessing 62 gives it a 4.69. Anybody in the chat, Samfet's 5.
Yeah, it's a 5 for me.
It's a 5 all day.
I'm going to go 3.69 because I do think that I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's a 5 all day. And one thing we didn't mention is the music.
It's good too, yeah.
From the very
I did
beginning.
mention I mentioned that music. I didn't say I liked it or loved it, but I did mention that it's got that. It's the same exact, which I know because they said in the documentary that, or a YouTube video, it said that I forget the name of the song, but it has something to do with
the opening song.
Yeah,
The
in the time.
Dire, sire, die, sila, so come,
They use that in Clockwork Orange too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's an actual score done by what's her name?
It's a pair of people, I think.
Elkind, I think, is their last name, right?
Yeah, Wendy Carlos and Rachel Elkind.
Yeah.
Elkind.
Yep. Plus de Pour.
Yeah.
Dude, that music is awesome.
One of my favorite things. So
gives me like talk to me type music because they use like that French music when they're all fucking with the clap. Oh god. But obviously this is even better, but it just gives me that type vibe.
We're past the statute of limitations for this. So there was a period in my life where I would really like to do psychedelic drugs, and I would watch scenes from 2001 A Space Odyssey. Right. And my girlfriend at the time was like, and one of the things I would always watch is when Dave goes through the Stargate.
Right.
Like I would watch that because I was trying to find a psychedelic interpretation of 2001 A Space Odyssey in the ending. I was trying to whatever. Right. We all do experiments. Right. Yeah. So and then And my girlfriend at the time was like, that's way too much for me. That's way too fucking creepy. And if you think about the music in that scene, right? Where like, and it's one of the reasons why I actually used that scene in Rock and Robbie Live during one of the breaks is because I had a very profound experience doing that. But I tried to do that with The Shining. That's a mistake. Do not in any point of your life take psychedelic drugs and either watch The Shining or listen to the soundtrack, because it will put you in a really bad place. Just so you know. So yeah, don't do that, y'all. We do it so you don't have to. So not a good idea.
Speaking of
Put on
Sam
Speed
Fett,
Racer. That one works way better. Trust me.
Sam Fett, man, slid right in there with a 5 from him. I haven't seen you in a minute, man. I hope
Yeah,
all,
man. Good to
hope all
see
is
you.
well, brother.
Station.
Always good to see you, man. But yeah, I fucking love the music in this, man. Fantastic. 5 for you though too, Manny. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I know you gotta love the music though too as well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know even the real words to it. I couldn't even have told you that.
Dude, the only reason I know that is because the last musical I did before COVID was The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and that Dia de Siete is like a third of the fucking lyrics to the choir.
Got you. Well, then that does it, man. And there's 5s across the board in the chat. No surprise there whatsoever. So this movie's a fucking 5 all day. One of the greatest films of all time, and obviously, as Scarpad and Manny said, it's one of the most talked about films in a film class, or film class too. With this and A Space Odyssey, I mean, just shows the profound legacy that Kubrick left behind, man, and just such a talented filmmaker. But I know,
and most people just boil it down to an Egg McMahon quote.
Yeah,
right.
So let me see. Do I have? I think I don't have one for exactly. I think it's just a whole March Madness, which we started off with The Shining. Obviously, we are done with The Shining to kick March Madness off. Next week, we'll be doing Two Gun Pedro's Pick, Train to Busan, which I'm very excited about. And then the following week after, we'll be doing Creep, which is another awesome POV type movie, and an Italian Baba film, A Blade in the Dark, which I've never seen, so I'm very excited to talk about that. And to cap it off, we'll be doing Possession with Sam Neill, one of the video nasties that was just kind of brought back to the fold, because for a while it was a very hard film to even track down, and now it's on Shudder, and so it was actually banned in the UK for years.
Well, possession is 9/10 of the law, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I heard. But yeah, I'm very excited.
I'm still awake.
I'm very excited to talk about Train to Busan next week. But speaking of Two Gun, I know he had sent me and Robbie little March Madness care package. He'd also sent Scarpad.
Me too, but unfortunately I left it downstairs. But I'll show it tonight.
Yeah, his
on
legs
the kick
aren't
stand,
working.
and I'll show it next
I
week.
left mine in the other room, so let me run over there real quick. But do remember the next chapter of March Madness is Monday night. Dylan and Scarpad should be there for the Invisible Man.
Oh shit, we're not doing it in 2017?
Shut up. You would never you would be like,
Yeah, I wouldn't be on that show. Fucking hate that movie.
Have you watched it?
The 2017 one? Yes, I hate it.
You did watch it? Okay. I can't wait though, because I recently got the 4K of that, and I've been dying to watch that, because I know Scarpad has watched his 4K and he told me it looks gorgeous. So yeah, that will be a fun one to talk about. Let me see. So I mean, when I saw this on the doorstep, I was like, holy shit.
There's gotta be a poster at least, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's what he had told me he was having trouble finding. I think this box to put it in. I have not looked inside it, but I pre-cut it just because Two Gun is such a great. He does such a great job packaging stuff. I've never had anything come damaged from him. Knock on wood. That would never be his fault. That would, of course, because Scarpad and I both know how fucked up the post office can be. Let me see. I think I'm gonna start with this little stack of posters first. It's the hard part because I don't want to rush through it because I don't want to damage anything. Oh, I'm liking this already. Oh, Evan's gonna be jealous of this one. Got us a Flash poster, which I know Two Gun.
Yeah, I like that one.
Two Gun usually, I know
That's cool.
he catches some cool posters at his movie theaters from time. I never saw this. This looks.
Yeah, they never have those in mine.
I don't go to AMC. It's my Cinemark. Well, sometimes I go to AMC. My AMC is very small though, so I usually go to Cinemark. That's a sweet poster. My Cinemark though, that they didn't have any. I love that though with the Michael Keaton Batship. And
That would be called the Batwing.
Batwing, you said?
Batwing, baby.
Batwing. Okay.
Not a bat ship.
You
that's
sound
the
like
bat
ship.
That's the bat boat.
This is awesome right here.
That's a cool poster.
That is awesome.
Put that right above where you sleep.
Oh yeah, you should around the ceiling.
Fucking scared the living shit out of me. That is an awesome poster. I like these. They're like can't even think. What are like felt poster?
Canvas
Poster. Thank you. I think you told me that last time. And we got another canvas one, which I always love this artwork too.
Gorgeous.
John Carpenter's Halloween. I mean, there's no greater scene than when he busts through the damn closet to get at Jamie Lee. That is gorgeous.
Jamie Lee.
And I'm very I did not tell him I'm a Taylor Swift fan. But you know,
motherfucker went to see fucking Taylor Swift.
No, they probably were just giving them away, and he's messing with me. Oh, this is fucking sweet. Look at this, dude.
Nice. Oh, that's
nice and warm.
That's sick.
That's like if it was an 80s movie, that would be the
you.
cover.
If what?
If it was an 80s movie, that would be the VHS.
That's what
cover.
I was thinking. I was trying to think of what this was like homaging in a way. That is fucking sweet, dude. Yeah, it's a limited edition 2022. I've never seen this ever. That's sweet, dude. Wow, I love that. Oh man, dude, my favorite movie of 2023, baby. Thanksgiving, dude.
Nice.
Favorite horror movie, but yeah, I think favorite movie of the 2023.
Really?
I absolutely love this movie.
You know, I met that guy.
I was like, how do I not have a Shining shirt? And I was gonna wear my Thanksgiving shirt. Oh, it's got a backside too.
Oh, that's cool.
That is sweet. I like that.
What'd you think of the Borderlands trailer?
I'm not a Borderland. I never played the video game, so it's hard for me to say. I'm going in open-minded. I know some people are very big into the game. I was expecting a little more, like, as I've heard that it's like Mad Max, but it's a little bit like I'm not too crazy about Kevin Hart being in it because he, it seems like it's going to be very comedic. But and then I heard a lot of people were upset that like Kate Blanchett is her because she's older. That Jamie Lee, they aged up her character.
Yeah.
I think it still will. I thought it looked gorgeous, like the shots and like the style of it.
See, I'm the same as you. I've never played the game. I have no relationship to that, right? But it looks like a fun movie.
It looks really fun.
From what I've gathered, is Eli Roth's kind of like in don't take this the wrong way, but like a Joss Whedon situation in Justice League, where like somebody else was directing the film and then he had to come in. Was it Tim Miller or something like that?
I know Tim Miller actually directed something, or no, that might be it. There was some movie I was just
Could be
talking.
misremembering, but
There's some maybe. I know that did have like one or two directors attached at some point. That one's been trying to get made for a bit.
yeah, it definitely looks like it's going for that Guardians of the Galaxy kind of vibe.
Yeah,
Sure.
I hope nothing but the best.
I just hope Eli makes a lot of fucking money off of it, man.
Because I love Eli Roth, and I just watched that House with the Clock Walls in it, and
That's a good movie.
That was awesome, dude.
Yeah,
and
dude.
he said that he had like, because I guess there's a bunch of books about like in that series, and he's like, I got a plan for a sequel, and I'm bummed. I really hope. I mean, I doubt now we will, but I wish it did because I thought that movie was great. I had a blast with that. So
that's our boy Eli, man, doing good things.
Dude, I love Eli Roth, man. I've always been a huge advocate and a huge supporter of his, and I want nothing but the best of him. There was some movie though that was directed, and Tim Miller did like the scenes that Eli Roth. Man, you know what? I think I read that there were. I think this is what it was. Tim Miller directed some reshoots because Eli Roth was finishing up Thanksgiving. He was doing That's what I just read that on IMDb when the trailer dropped, that Tim Miller did reshoots for Borderlands. So that's probably where you heard that. But dude, he got me the motherfucking Christmas gift.
That's a great one.
I wanted this so bad, dude. I was hoping he could find me. And he not only got me one, but he snagged me two.
Oh, then you can send that one to me.
This shit is for you. I got to get a frame for these.
He's going to frame both of them before he sends them to you, Scarpad. He's going to frame both and just have them behind him.
I would not frame both of them. If he wants one, I'd give him one. But he never has room for posters. But you would find poster room for this, wouldn't you?
Probably not. I got no room.
No room up during Christmas, right next to your Christmas tree.
I don't put up a Christmas tree.
Damn, that explains a lot.
And then
I killed Santa.
This big roll. Excuse the tape sound.
I could be a gerbil in a tube.
Scarpad, you could have ran downstairs while we were waiting.
I did. Fuck you. Bad feet and all. Crawled to the fucking stairs. Oh. I did. Shame me into it, motherfucker.
I'm gonna call your doctor. He needs to give you some painkillers or something.
I need some fucking bionic feet.
Yeah.
Dude, Scarpad, you're gonna love this. For the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo in April, they just announced Lindsay Wagner.
She still look fine.
And as always, Tucson sends the sickest shirts.
Oh, cool.
That is really cool, man. That's the best Terrifier I've seen so far.
I love
that's the best part of Terrifier is that shirt. Oh. The merchandising.
Oh my God, Robbie's putting down Terrifier, the greatest horror film of the 2000s.
That is a great shirt. I love, yeah. I mean, it's like Killer Clowns, man. The merchandising is just incredible for their brand. Okay, these might be a little bit harder to show, so I'm gonna back up a little because these look like they're full size posters.
You should have had all this ready, Dylan.
What was that, Scarpad?
He just looked at his woman like he was Jack Torrance. Did y'all notice that? He was like, I'm working.
She scared me.
If you hear me typing.
That's right.
She scared me. I didn't know she was. I didn't know she was
fuck out. Bro, you got a Blue Beetle poster.
Oh, it looks. Is this double-sided?
Yeah, all the posters that theaters get are double-sided because they put it in the light box.
Light box, yeah.
Dude, cool. Mummy 2, man. I still haven't seen Blue Beetle. I need to watch it.
Blue Beetle is I went to see it in theaters.
It's watchable.
Yeah,
don't go beyond that. Oh, Billy says you like Aquaman 2. I didn't think Aquaman 2 was that good.
I liked Aquaman 2.
I still ain't watched it, man.
I couldn't get past like a half an hour of it.
Oh, really? I enjoyed it. I didn't like. I mean, I didn't like. I didn't like absolutely adore it, but I thought it was.
I'm sure when I watch the whole thing at some point, I'll
I
probably
think
like
they
it.
got screwed with a lot of behind.
It was definitely better than the Marvels. Oh
Man.
God, that was a horrible movie.
Sorry, Ev, you're gonna hate me on this one. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume
Nice.
3.
That's a nice
Oh,
poster.
I love. This is one of the best Marvel movies to come out since like
Wow, that's not saying much.
Endgame,
Endgame?
Spider-Man: Far From Home.
I give you that.
I mean, they've been shit in the bed lately. Don't even get me started on the Marvels.
Yeah, Marvels was horrible.
That was fucking god awful. I love, dude.
It's better than the Eternals, man. I'll
It
tell you
sucks, dude.
I give the edge to the Eternals. I thought that was a bad movie than Marvels.
It
Marvels
sucks.
just felt like they had a plot. It just was all over the place.
I did enjoy that. Actually, I did enjoy this one. I really enjoyed this one too because it had a lot of Star Wars vibes. But sad.
That was okay, but it wasn't the best Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, but I enjoyed like that it was a little different. But it sucks about what happened with Kang. But I mean, I guess what are you gonna do? You get all that money and you start doing dumb shit. So I mean, I don't know if he's guilty or not. I have no fucking clue. I'm not even speaking on that.
They're gonna be casting. I think Don Cheadle's coming back.
Supposedly they dropped the Kang Dynasty off the Avengers movie, so they might be going in a whole different aspect. And I think this is last. Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. There's a note in here.
Don't open this wrong.
Oh wait. I think it's just Exorcist.
What does it say? It says look behind me.
No, it says open this and you'll need to call an exorcism and a priest to come do an exorcism on you. But I did really enjoy this movie. I actually thought this.
Oh yeah, I like that movie too.
I like this Pope's Exorcist. That's a cool.
Russell Crowe's accent was a bit wonky, but otherwise the movie was good.
Really cool.
You tell me Russell Crowe did a weird accent? Get out of here.
Yeah, it sounded like Guido Sarducci.
That's cool though. Like with the you see like the skulls with the.
His accent was better in the Thor movie, which tells you something.
You want to be so careful with. But that is what I got, and that was an awesome fucking set of posters, man. Thank you as always, Two Gun. You are absolutely too kind. And that, I mean, this man just is constantly going out of the way for us and finding us awesome shit, man. I mean, like he just always ups the ante every time he sends me something, man. And
okay, let Robbie go because he was prepared.
He's the type that really puts some thought into when he's looking for stuff for us.
No, let Robbie go next. He was prepared.
I thought you needed to go.
No, let Robbie go first.
All right, first thing you got me, I want to show off is this badass T-shirt. Look at this, y'all. Look at that.
I love that shirt.
He gives me the best shirts, man. They're awesome.
Boy's got a handful of fun there.
Yeah, he does. All right, I got a couple of these little canvas posters too.
Hey, he gives me awesome shirts too.
So I got this one right here.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a classic. That's a classic artwork too.
Yeah, dude, love that. Check this one out though.
Did he give you a Taylor Swift poster too?
Nope.
Dude, is that canvas?
Yeah, these are the canvas ones.
Oh, I couldn't even tell on that one.
Yeah,
that's sweet. I love that.
So I got those 2 canvas posters. I got this T-shirt, and he gave me some more VHS for my VHS collection, which is starting to overtake the apartment. But look at this: Long Kiss Goodnight. That's awesome. Showdown in Little Tokyo. And I always love it when they have that old school.
I think I'll tell you what it is. Is this action?
Like right there. I thought it was still wrapped up, but it's actually been opened before. But The Untouchables, really cool movie.
That is a good one.
This is a cool one to add to the collection. Total Recall.
Mm-hmm. Please
The
be
Ninth
kind.
Gate?
Rewind.
I really like this
Oh
movie.
yeah.
I gotta
always-
find that on. I gotta find that on Blu-ray because I want to watch that again.
Rules of Engagement Special Edition. This is when they would put the features at the end of the movie after it plays. But yeah, Rules of Engagement is not too bad. Dude, this is awesome. This is awesome. Cheech and Chong's
Great
Up in
movie.
Smoke to watch it in the original way. This is awesome too. Batman the movie, the Adam West, Burt Ward Batman movie, y'all.
Well, that
That's
is.
where you got the shark. We fought the shark.
But here's the best one yet. So I have 2 copies of Batman 1989 on VHS. Now I got 1966 Batman, and now I got Batman and Robin on VHS, y'all. Right
That's the
there.
movie that does deserve VHS.
And
Does it make it better?
And
No,
it's sealed, baby.
it's not sealed. It's actually been opened.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and they even rewound it, or maybe they never watched it to begin with. But anyway, that's what he sent me, man. So thank you so much, Two Gun. I love you. Station pop pop.
Love you too, Gun. You're the
Okay, so Two Gun also sent me some stuff. So first he sent me some real good stuff too. This is I love these video cases. They're yellow from Shameless Video over in England. This is a Italian giallo called The Case of the Bloody Iris. You gotta love that cover.
Yeah, wait till you see the next one.
I love those yellow cases. I have my copy of Four Flies on Gray Velvet by Argento. It's in one of those.
And he
yellow-
also sent
One of
me.
those yellow ones.
and then he also sent
I
me
haven't gotten any of those yellow ones.
Delamore, which is The Cemetery Man with Rupert Everett.
I love that. I love
This is
that.
a great movie.
I want that. I want that so
It's a
bad.
great cover, man.
That's what I'm saying. I want it for the cover.
I love these so much that I put them in.
Great movie.
I put them in the Blu-ray prophylactic already.
That's where it belongs.
Plastic case. It does. He also sent me this DVD from Rutger Hauer called The Blood of Heroes, which I will be showing next Saturday night on Kick.
Oh, that's the one you were saying. Okay. I thought you were showing the Bloody Iris one next week.
No, next Saturday night, The Blood of Heroes with Rutger Hauer.
Gotcha.
And all its 4x3 glory. And then he sent me this Bela Lugosi flick, Shadow of Chinatown, where
Oh, cool.
Bela stars is not Dracula, but a crime figure. That's gonna be a good one to watch.
Hell yeah. Anything.
And then finally,
Yeah.
he sent me this Godzilla patch,
Yeah.
which is really, really cool. And
Everyone has
if I could
a cemetery man?
they may.
That's what he said. He wouldn't have, dude. He's a cemetery man
They probably do, yeah.
expert.
And then finally, nothing that Two Guns showed me, but I got some pussy this week.
He got a little
Here's
mix,
my,
got a little mixed pussy too.
here's my little mixed pussy. His name is Boo. Her
That's
name is Boo.
You named her Boo?
Boo, yeah. And she's a cute little
Hey,
kitty.
she is your Boo.
She's my Boo. She's up there now. See?
Boy, you should know that
I've
I've got you
never had-
on my mind. About to go to
So,
karaoke. Maybe I'll do my boo.
So next Saturday night we'll be showing that movie, and then tonight we'll be watching the Green Slime over on Kick. So
Chill out.
tune in and watch the
That was
Green
awesome,
Slime.
too.
Is that the documentary about 90s Nickelodeon? Doo-doo.
I know it's the Japanese movie about green slime creatures.
You can't do that on television, bro.
Oh wow, dude! Cemetery Man 4-disc 4K UHD with exclusive slipcover plus booklet. 4-disc set. Wow.
It was a big movie.
Oh, there must be.
Keys in my MacBook. Keys in my MacBook.
Oh, there's one that it comes with a soundtrack, but it comes with 2 different Blu-rays. It has a shit ton of special features on both Blu-rays. Wow.
Yeah, well, this one is only strictly the Italian version. There's no American cut on this at all. The one he sent me.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking there was maybe 2 discs because there was like an Italian and right. It doesn't say it, but it says 6 hours.
But thank you, True God. I appreciate that.
Special
by the way.
features. Yeah, dude, that cover he gave you is awesome, though. I love that.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. Especially,
Dude, happy March Madness, man. We kicked it off with a bang tonight, didn't we?
we truly did, man. I can't wait for next week to do Train to Busan.
I can't wait to talk about that one, man.
I can't wait
cannot
to watch Invisible Man though too. That'll be fun. That will.
Then
be fun.
Verno is doing Possession as well, and Manny is doing the duality of good and evil in film, right?
I am. Yeah, that'll be Wednesday over on the channel. And I didn't expect so many people to tell me how excited they are to see this, because now I'm like second guessing whether I need to re-record and add more to the damn.
Never second guess.
So
Just keep Manny up there for a while.
yeah, why not? No, the
Dylan doesn't know what he's doing.
well, and well, since I have this moment, I think it's important to point out that the documentary about Nickelodeon is called The Orange Years. You can find it on Hulu. It's a very, very interesting history of the channel, talking about how Nickelodeon went from being the channel nobody wanted to watch to being the it channel when it embraced MTV brand marketing. So if you want to learn more about the importance of branding and logo development and really learning how to speak to your audience, that is definitely a great documentary to check out over on Hulu.
There's also a great YouTube video where somebody went to the old Nickelodeon studios and they're like completely like abandoned now. And they went in and just did filming, and like it's really, really cool.
What was that documentary called on Hulu, Manny?
The Orange Years.
The Orange
Years. Yeah.
Not to mention Ren and Stimpy, which was a great show ever.
Ren and Stimpy, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Clarissa Explains It All.
Rugrats as Told by Ginger.
Yeah, I don't even just watch Ren and Stimpy.
Salute Your Shorts, brother. Adventures of Pete and Pete. The only thing is this: fuck Hey Dude. Fuck Hey Dude. Fuck Hey Dude.
I love Nickelodeon growing up.
I'd be watching Snick, and then Hey Dude would come on. I'd be like, God damn it.
Kyrie just found Are You Afraid of the Dark, and she's been binging it.
Nice.
Oh, I love Are You Afraid of the Dark. But
I think all that stuff on
Paramount Plus are absolutely awesome, and all that. The final
and all their game shows,
awesome, man.
Guts, Legends of the Hidden Temple, Finders Keepers, Double Dare, Nick Arcade. I mean, come on, y'all.
Gosh,
I have been found to be goofing off in the office at work sometimes, just looking up pieces of the aggro crag from Guts on eBay to see if somebody who won one 30 years ago was selling it.
Oh, dude. Toxic Cryo, he'll 3D print you one.
Yeah, I see people that 3D print them, and I'm like, I think I want to get one. Just to, how cool would that be? And then make up this elaborate lie about how I was on this episode of Guts, and then people are on YouTube trying to fucking find it. Oh, also, I found a YouTube channel that there's a bunch of them, but they just put out full episodes with commercials of remote control. Dude, I went for like 4 hours one night, like just watching that shit, dude. It was so much fun. But yeah, Invisible Man on Monday night. We got Manny's duality of good and evil in film, from classic to modern to elevated, right? Then we got Verno with Possession, and then back here with Train to Busan, which I'm so pumped to talk about, y'all.
Yeah. And tomorrow night, me and Dylan will be back with episode 2 of The Ones That Live, the Walking Dead new series about Rick and Michonne. Tomorrow night, 10:30, and then we got a Bond movie coming up this week. We got last one, View to a Kill, will be coming up this week. So,
one of my favorite James Bond theme songs.
Yeah.
Oh, that means y'all are about to do Timothy Dalton.
Yeah,
that's right.
Give me a call, man. Living Daylights. I want to be there.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well,
give me a holler, man. We'll see if we can do it.
Well, we're gonna watch it this week, so
normally we do it on Monday, but it's honestly slipped my mind about Invisible Man until you reminded us.
It's fine. I can also just send you like a 2-minute clip of me.
Well, you can do that, and we also record them. So
yeah,
let us know when you're available.
We normally record them, so we'd probably just bring you backstage, and we normally only do it like half hour. It's not we don't do like an hour show, so we just put a
But
half
if you want
hour
to send me, if you want to send me a clip too, I'll put it in.
Word. We'll figure it out. I'll have a presence one way or another.
What?
We'll figure it out.
You're talking about one of the best damn James Bonds there ever was.
I wouldn't go that far, but it was good.
First viewing for me. So, be fun. So, yeah, next week, Train to Busan, Invisible Man this Monday. We'll be doing The Ones Who Live episode 2, me and Scarpad. Scarpad's going to be jumping on Kick to watch Green Slime, and I should be joining him. And Manny, when is your video this week? What day? I'm sorry.
Wednesday, but pretty much every day of the week there's a comic review on there. So
that is true. So make sure you go sub them up. Nerdtastic News. Always dropping some fire, man. And yes, I can't wait, man. Great way to start March Madness off. It's gonna be fun, man. And yeah, man, it's gonna be a grand old time, man. So be fun revisiting freaking Train to Busan. I have not watched my 4K yet, so I'm very excited.
Looks
and
great.
Once again, shout out to Gun for the AOK. What did I call it? Act AOHK. Act of Horror Kindness. Yeah.
Right.
Workshop that.
Yeah, I knew you would say that because it sounded worse. It sounds better in text message than just saying it out loud. But maybe Two-Gun was like, we'll workshop that one. When I said it to him, I was like, you did that? Act of Horror? And he was like, yeah.
Call it a horrible act of
do that
kindness.
again. What did you say?
A horrible act of kindness.
That does sound better, but we got to make sure we say it in a way that doesn't sound mean. But
Right.
they got to get the inside joke. But yeah, man. So I appreciate everyone who came and hung out with us. Manny, thank you for joining us, brother. It was great to have you, brother. It was great to get you back in here. Hopefully we'll be able to get you back sooner than later. I know you will be joining us. I believe that'll probably be like my birthday weekend that you will be joining us for that movie, which I'm very excited that you're joining for that because I did that specifically because it's literally like, I think it's 2 days after my birthday, possibly. I have to look at the dates. But yeah, you are welcome back though anytime, brother. So if you ever see something, I'll shoot you a list, and if you're ever able to make it, you already know you're always invited. And Robbie, we'll see you next week.
Yep.
We'll
Fourth
see
annual March Madness, y'all, kicked off. That's awesome.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. So thank you again, everyone, for coming and hanging out. You guys are the best, and we will catch you guys next time, y'all. Peace out.